live legendary, doing whatever's necessary. Your dreams are calling, and I hope you get the message like a secretary. Well wishes to my adversaries. I wish the best for you. And know once you level up, God's got a test for you. Living legends. What's going on, everybody? You're watching Living Legends, and I'm here with not only an outstanding athlete, an outstanding young man, but my brother from another, Asar Walcott. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, man? What's up, Rob?
Man? I can't complain, yo. This has been some months in the making. I've actually been excited to, get you on this podcast, on this vlog. Not only because, I've seen what you've been able to accomplish in your life and what you've been able to overcome, but because you've been a family friend for the longest. And, I'm really proud to say that I know you, I know your family, and, I know the things that you're destined for, so, both of us. The first time I actually met this guy, man, a long time ago, I had to be going to like the 7th grade. And we're all chilling at Carver Park. If you're from Bergen County, Hackensack, you know where Carver Park is. We used to chill there, play basketball. And my younger brother, Brandon, pulls up on a bicycle. This young man is on the back. Everybody's like, who's this dude? Happened to be Asar. So, we've experienced a lot together. You actually went out to University of Virginia with my brother. But, I want to back up a little bit. And, I feel like I want you to be able to tell everybody, who is Asar? Where you come from? How'd you get to where you're at today?
Well, Asar, is just a hard-working young man. That's a lot of faith in God. A lot of faith in God, God-fearing. Somebody that's just, trying to do what he wants to do in life, get to where he know he should be, and things like that. Just a hard-working man.
So where do you come from, man? Like, we know you haven't always lived in Hackensack. You played football out here, but where's your family from? Where do you originate from? Where are your origins from, basically?
Right. Well, I'm from. Honestly, we were moving around so much as my upbringing or whatever. But I moved to Hackensack from Paterson, New Jersey. But before I was in Paterson, I was living in East Orange, and before East Orange, I was living in Newark.
Wow.
So I went from Newark to East Orange to Paterson to Hackensack. So those were like all my younger years, and then I got to Hackensack when I was going into 7th grade. Just finished 6th grade, going into 7th grade.
Right. Do y'all still got that dog, man?
Nah, he passed. Yeah, years ago.
Kenji passed too, man. Rest in peace to the dog.
He used to eat grass all the time.
That's serious, yo. You know what? I do want to ask you something about, you came from Passaic County where it's, really, really tough there, and you moved over to Bergen County. But even though, Passaic County and Bergen County, we're not that far apart. So Paterson is maybe, 10 minutes away, but as you come here, it's a completely different world.
Right.
I want you to share with us, what type of difference did you, if you did at all, experience moving from Paterson, Passaic County to Bergen County?
Well, honestly, it was a lot more, easier out here because, people's mindset was a little different. I was used to coming from, you had to watch your back, and, you had to, come straight home from school and stuff like that because, you didn't want to land in no type of trouble or stuff like that. So it was easier to connect with people out here because, a lot of people were trying to, do something positive, whether it was sports or, whatever, academics and all those type of things. So it was an easier transaction. Not to say that there's no people like that, in Passaic County, Essex County, and things like that. It's just, I would say it's more here than there are here. Growing up, there were probably, people in Passaic and Essex County that were into a little different scene than it is in Bergen County, you know what I mean? So like, it was just a little easier because I was an athlete, so it was a little easier just to bond with people because, a lot of people play sports here. A lot of people went to the rec, a lot of people did stuff like that. So it was a little easier where I was coming from Paterson where, we didn't do a lot of that stuff. We played in the street most of the time, did stuff like that. We didn't have too many of the recs and stuff like that to be going to and things like that. So it was, it was cool though. It's the same though, it's the same. People gonna show you the love or the hate wherever you at.
Most definitely. Most definitely. So, I want to get into this, when I first met Asar, I automatically understood that he was an athlete. I didn't know in what sport because we started playing basketball before anything. And one thing you can actually, attest to is living in Bergen County, just being a kid in the era that we grew up in. We were playing outside, so we were athletes in all sports. We were playing till the break of dawn, you know, running around playing manhunt, riding bikes for miles and miles and miles every day. So, you know, we were already strong. But what I understood right away was when we got on that football field, Fashini Park, with the geese doodle and the puddles of water. And not only that, I want to mention this, yo, you know, if you look at the kids now, they got all the gadgets to rock, and we used to rock straight t-shirts, no Under Armour. So this is the era we come from. I want to know, why football? When did you know that, you know, football was the sport that you were greatest in? You know, we both had our experience in football, but I want to know from you, why'd you end up choosing football over all the other sports that you were obviously already good at?
Yeah, I was a 3-sport athlete. I did football, track, I ran track, and I played basketball. I honestly thought I was going to be a basketball player. That's where that's where probably more my passion was in basketball. But you know, after I started getting older, and you know, I started just realizing you know, the game, and you know, realizing how things work, I figured that football would be a better fit for me.
Right.
So it was kind of like, it wasn't even like I loved it more or anything like that. It was just like almost like a business decision.
Right.
Like I knew that I can strive more in football than I would in basketball. So I chose to you know, go 100% football. I actually stopped playing basketball to focus on football, to run track, to get faster and things like that. So now that I'm older and I think about it, it was kind of more like a business decision that I chose football because I just knew I fit better.
Right. Yeah. That's actually funny that you say that, because looking back on it, I feel like my father gave me a choice. He was like, listen, you're gonna either play one of these sports. And looking back, I felt like that I probably was better at basketball or whatever it was, but you know, I still was really good in football. You know, and it ended up taking me places that I never thought, and things like that, and also showing me stuff in life as well, man.
Yeah,
but also in regards to football, man, we if anybody's watching, you already know the NFL. First of all, what's your favorite team?
I'm a Giants fan.
You're man.
Definitely, you know me and your brother.
Fans, bro.
Yeah, you know me.
But I'm a Buccaneers fan. Don't ever tell nobody that. Y'all all know that now. I'm a Buccaneers fan. We haven't won since like 01. But we coming back this year.
Y'all got a nice little squad though this
James
year though.
Winston,
we got y'all put pieces together.
We gonna try. We gonna see. It's always different then. But you know, I want to know from you, man. I know I'm not gonna ask you this. You're trying to go pro, and I don't want to give you this question the wrong way. So, Colin Kaepernick. You know, everybody knows Colin Kaepernick. Last year took a knee during the national anthem, and right now he's receiving the most controversy out of any NFL player in a while. So I want to ask you, if you're in this position, you know, you've been to the NFL, you know, if you're in this position right now, how would you have handled that situation? You know, not to say that you would have stood up or that you would have nailed at all. I want to know how you would have handled the situation, or how do you even feel about the situation going on with Colin Kaepernick? Yeah,
that's a real sticky one, because you know, he's mixing, you know, the business with the personal. But honestly, if I was in that situation, I would just have to go with what I'm actually feeling at that moment. You know what I mean? If something's telling me to do that, then you know, something's telling me to do that for a reason. If something's telling me not to stand, something's telling me to stand. You know, at the end of the day, everybody has their own reasoning for what they're doing. They're feeling something. But you know, if it was me, I would just have to, you know, I would have to be in the moment and see and feel what I'm feeling right there, what I'm getting from, what type of energy I'm getting and vibe that I'm getting and things like that. Because you know, he's been in the league for a minute. You know what I mean? So like, in a sense, you know, people may think he's damaging his career, but in reality, he's taking his career to another. Yeah, he's taking his career to another level, because now he's going into that area where he can talk about the things that he's talking about now, where he's not just labeled as a football player. You know, they try to put you in a box. Oh, you can just do one thing. So you know what I mean? I think that he's kind of attacking it at all angles, but it does, you know, disrespect people in a way. Yeah. Some people may get offended by what he's doing and stuff like that. So. It's just hard, man. That's just a hard situation.
It's definitely a hard situation, and I don't even know what I would do in that type. But what you're saying is really true, where, you know, he's been in the league for a little bit, and what I just said, he's going to a Super Bowl or been close to it. You know, he's played at the highest level. So at this point, he's like, what else do I have to prove? So let me use my platform, the platform that I have, that I established and worked so hard for myself, to actually go and do something for somebody younger than me, or somebody for the people that are coming up, so that they don't have to deal with the same stuff that I experienced
Right.
when I was in the NFL. Not me, never in the NFL. But yo, thank you for that. I want to also ask you, man, you know, what's real important about young kids these days is potential. People don't realize their potential.
Yeah, man.
You know, people don't, or if they do, they don't realize till later. So like we were just talking a second ago, we see people that we played sports with when we were younger, probably weren't that good, but when we got into college, they started
Right.
to revamp themselves and started to play and realize their potential. So some people realize their potential early, some people realize their potential late. But you know, people like you realized it early on. So what was it? Who were you speaking to? Who were your mentors? Who motivated you? Who's your favorite player of all time? Things of that made you realize, yo, I'm not only do I like football, but I'm really, really good at football, and I can take this to another level. When did you start to realize that, and how did you start to realize that?
I started realizing that at a real young age, like you said. It was just something that I had that I was able to, you know, I've always been, you know, in tune with myself.
Right.
You know, I mean, I've always been like a quiet guy that just, you know, takes it easy and stuff like that, but I've always been in tune with myself. But honestly, just coming from where I was coming from,
Word.
like we grew up, me and my family, you know, we grew up like, you know, I wouldn't say like bad, but you know, we grew up rough, like living in basement apartments, 1 bedroom, you know, me and my sister sleeping in there, my mom sleeping on the couch, you know what I mean? So like I was always hungry, like 7, 8, 6 years old, I was hungry, like, you know what I mean? In a sense for, you know, I wanted to win. You know what I mean? And football was something that, you know, allowed me to get on that big stage and allowed me to get in front of people and allow people to, you know, like know who I am and stuff like that. So like it was just my circumstance that I was in. You know what I mean? Seeing my mom being a single mom struggle, things like that, you know, living where we live, living from, you know, city to city, apartment to apartment, living in the projects, you know what I mean? CCP projects, all that type of stuff. Like it was just something that, you know, it was just fueling my flame.
And it seems like it still fuels you right now.
Definitely.
To this day, even though you guys, you know, have gone on to do other things and you've had success in your life, and I'm sure your parents have and your siblings have as well, you still seem to still keep that in your mind where it's like, yo, I've been to these places, but I have so much more to accomplish, and you know, I really admire that. One thing I wanted to also touch upon, man, is you went to the University of Virginia. Since you were there, you were a young, black, talented athlete going to the school, student athlete. Did you ever experience any type of racism or any type of discrimination while you were going to UVA?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you're gonna experience that everywhere you at, no matter if you're here, Alaska, anywhere. You know what I mean? Some people are always going to have that opinion on, you know, black African American men. You know what I mean? It's all what you do about it and how you carry yourself and things like that. It's not just because I was in Charlottesville that happened. You know what I mean?
Could have been anywhere.
Yeah, it happens everywhere. You just got to know how to handle it. And, you know, if somebody does say something to you or, you know, rub you the wrong way, you just got to know how to, like, be the bigger person and things like that. But, yeah, of course I've had, you know, racial issues and little things like that at the school, but sometimes I didn't handle it right, sometimes I did. You know what I mean? It's just all a part of me growing up, you know, finding myself, becoming a better man. But definitely, you know, I'm sure a lot of people that go to school out of state have racial problems and things like that. You know what I mean?
I went to school in Baltimore, and I mean, even though my school was predominantly black, you know, we had a lot of schools in the surrounding area, and they were building up Baltimore at the time, so you know, there's a lot of gentrification, a lot of new faces moving in. They're trying to push the darker faces out. So we would experience, depending on where you would go, you would experience. So I do agree. Well, it doesn't matter where you're at, you're gonna experience some type of discrimination, especially when you're young, black, talented, on your way to be successful and also handsome. So I want to get into this. UVA was a great experience for you. You know, you played football for a long time. Got into a little bit of trouble, as we all probably understand. I want to know, this case is over, we're not going to talk about the case. We're not going to talk about anything that you went through with that. I want to know, how does it feel, man? How does it feel? Because I've never been there, to be looking at your dreams, you know, like you were drafted to the Cleveland Browns, signed your contract, you were looking at your dreams directly in the face. And then to just in a split second, all of it just be diminished and gone. How did that make you feel?
Well, at the time, I felt
Right.
like, I felt like everything. I felt like the world was coming to an end. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? Like this is the thing about our generation. You know what I mean? Our generation wants everything so fast. We don't want to work too hard for it and things like that. What you have to understand, what our people, our age and stuff like that have to understand is that when something bad happens in your life, that's not it.
It's not.
You know what I mean? That's just God tapping you on the shoulder, waking you up, telling you, you need to operate different, you need to move different. You might need to step aside from some of your friends that might not have the same vision as you or something like that. You know what I mean? But I'm not that type to just when something bad happens to me. That's how I got there. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Plenty of stuff. There's so much stuff. There's so much stuff that's happened to me in my life that, like, you know what I mean? That, like, if I tell people would be like, damn, you should have gave up then, or you should have, you know what I mean? You just have to understand that, like, through life you're always gonna get opportunities. You're always gonna get chances to be great. You're always gonna get chances to win. You just have to be ready for when you get those chances. You know what I mean? We're all gonna get opportunities. Everybody has a talent. You know what I mean? Everybody has a talent. Everybody can do something better than the next man. You know what I mean? It's just what you do with that and how, you work on that craft and how you continue to build that. So, you know what I mean? At the time, I wasn't, I didn't think like that maybe.
Right.
At that split second.
But who would?
Yeah, who would? You know what I mean?
And it's easy for you to explain it now because it's over.
Yeah.
But how would anybody be able to handle that type of situation? And that leads to my next question is, after the case, man, and going through everything that you went through, it's, of course, unimaginable the type of stress that you were going through and the types of doubt that you were experiencing. I want to know from you, what did you do? What were you able to put your focus into so much that you were able to understand in your mind that, I'm still going to be successful, and at the end of the day, everything's still going to be okay?
Yeah, well, it was a lot of prayer. My son, my daughter, and, my family. They kept me motivated. They kept me, continuing to want to, strive and things like that. So it was definitely my family.
Definitely a family, man, and that's important, to keep family first, and also he keeps saying it, keep God first.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to get into with you, man, is I see it all the time. People that we grew up with, tremendous athletes, but going down the wrong path, whether they're locked up in jail now or just had a tough bout at life and now they're trying to figure things out for themselves. But they did have that potential back then, but just lacked the guidance.
Right.
I want you, Asar, man, I want you to look into the camera. I want you to give the youth your words of advice of what you think they should be doing in order to get not only to where you've been, but beyond that.
Well, what I would tell you is, surround yourself with people that, have the same mindset as you, that want to do the same things that you want to do in life, get to where you want to be in life. And, most of us, a lot of us that grow up, in the urban community, we grow up without fathers and things like that. But at the end of the day, that's really no excuse. You know what I mean? You got to continue to do what you got to do as a man, as a young man. You know what I mean? And it's your responsibility, to help your friends out. A lot of us that went down the wrong path. We have friends that knew we should have never went down that path,
Facts.
but our friends continue to let us go down that path. It's not cool to just let your friend get into something bad, or it's not cool to just let your friend wander off or just do whatever. You know what I mean?
You gotta have accountability.
Yeah, our generation thinks that that's cool to to be in trouble and do this, do that. Sometimes you got to pull your friend aside and tell them, like, listen, man, you got to straighten up. You got to do this, you got to do that. So, like, I feel like as a friend, it's my duty to tell, my friends that, listen, when y'all messing up and stuff like that, we got to get back on the straight and narrow. We got to keep each other in line.
So you heard him. Make sure you have accountability partners, even at old age, even when you're an adult. But the youth, make sure you're hanging around people who are going to hold you accountable to your dreams, your focus, and everything else that's going to bring positivity into your life. Thank you for watching Living Legends, and remember, everybody can be a living legend. Thanks a lot, man.
No problem, man.